Q&A time, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I asked you for your questions last week on the channel, just as a kind of, you know, different thing to do in the channel. Not done it in a while. Last time I done a Q&A was when I hit 1,000 subscribers. We're now almost at 2.5k. I want to thank you all so much for the support you've shown. I want to thank you all so much for the wide variety of questions you left me to choose from for this video. I did not expect you to leave 90 questions. I only needed about 20 or 30. And now I had 90 to choose from. So I've decided to take 40 and I'm going to split it over 2 videos. So it's going to be in 2 parts. We're going to have 20 in this video. We're going to have 20 sometime during the week. And I'm going to split it into 2 parts because the questions are brilliant. I don't want to leave any out. So I need to do it over 2 parts. Well, I will be leaving some out. Sorry if I did not choose your question. Your question might not have been chosen because it's already been asked and it would just be a duplicate. Or it's been asked in a previous Q&A. Or I just, luckily enough, or unluckily enough, it did not get picked. So sorry if your question's not there, but I tried to include the majority of them, tried to keep it quite a wide range, a lot of Celtic based ones, a lot of football based ones, but I'm looking forward to doing it anyway. So without any further ado, I keep saying further ado, fucking hell, jeez. Without any further ado, let's get in to the Q&A. Who will win the battle for second in European football in Scotland, and what is your short-term and long-term targets for Celtic under Rodgers domestically and in Europe? Right, well, for second place, I think it's going to be Aberdeen who finished second. I've done my predictions at the start, and I'm sorry I'll be looking down a lot. I'm reading the questions off my phone, so I need to look down a lot. Aberdeen will finish second. I said it from the very start and I'll say it till the very end. I think Aberdeen will be the team to finish second, and everything that happened yesterday at Rangers has culminated that, and I don't think they can push for second. Mark Warburton, the whole mess, he's gone. Rangers don't have a manager. I was going to do a video covering my thoughts on that, but I would get the old obsessed shit in the comments, so I didn't bother doing it. But it's a real talking point I wanted to go over, but I do think Aberdeen will finish second. That is my pick, and I said it from the very start, so I'm not going to change now. Aberdeen currently are sitting second with a game in hand, so they're going to stay there in my opinion. And for Celtic, I think in Europe under Rodgers, we've got to just keep progressing slowly. Next season, you know, try and once again consistently get to the group stage. At least that is where we should always be aiming for, the group stage. And I think eventually push for that last 16. But it really depends on what group you get handed. Like this year, we were handed such a tough group, and you really can't expect the team to do that much in a group of Man City, Barcelona, and Mönchengladbach. But I'd love to see us get to the last 16, maybe even next season. But I wouldn't mind if it took a year or 2. But the last 16 is the aiming for domestically. Here we go, 10 in a row, isn't it? That's 10 in a row. That's all I can ask for. Who's your favourite Celtic player? Torn between 2 players all the time. I'll always give the same 2 as my answer. Eric Sviatchenko and Moussa Dembele. I cannot decide between the 2. I love them both. I think both of them just add so much to Celtic. I love watching them play. They do brilliantly at what they both do. Obviously, one's a defender, one's a striker. Both of them class, and they will make it down in England probably one day, but it'll be sad to see them when they do. Sad to see them go when they do leave Celtic, if they do. But they 2 are my favourites. Could you do more matchday vlogs? If you could, talk and show yourself in the stadium while the match is going on. More matchday vlogs? Aye. Well, I mean, maybe it's usually I stick to European games, big games at Hampden and such, in the Old Firm matches. They're the only matches I really do vlogs at, because today, for example, a game against Inverness with half the stadium empty, it's not going to be the most interesting of vlogs, which is why I just stick to the big games, because pulling out my phone every 2 seconds, a game like today wouldn't, you know, I like to just sit down and watch the game sometimes, so it's only really for big games I do that. Maybe in the future we'll see how the channel goes and what people want to see. As for like actual showing myself, for the current moment I wouldn't do that. Probably won't ever do that really. It's just not my kind of thing, you know, pulling out my phone and people sitting around me and talking to it. It's just not my kind of thing. I really wouldn't really want to do it. I just don't like the idea of it. Maybe if I was sitting in a director's box or something, then aye, but we'll see in the future, I suppose. Who is better, Roman Reigns or Dolph Ziggler? What a pain in the arse you are, Jack. Eugene, what do you think of the current Rangers situation? The current Rangers situation, well, this question was actually asked last week. If I was to talk about it now, I think it's a mess what's happening with Warburton. and it's just a mess what's happening over in Rangers. I mean, the financial situation doesn't seem to get any better. They can't afford to pay off their managers. They tell managers they're gone without, well, no, they let people know their managers are gone without telling the actual manager. It seems a big mess. Don't know how or when it's going to get sorted, but they really need to get their things together, or they're going to end up back in administration or something. So, you know, hopefully they do something soon to save themselves. I don't know why I'm saying hopefully. I mean, I'm a Celtic fan, I couldn't care less, but I mean, it would be quite shite for Scottish football to see them go back down fucking 4 divisions again. But what I think of it's a shambles, really. That's what I think of it. Right, these two are basically the same. So who's your favourite footballer of all time, and who are your top 3 footballers of all time? So they 2 questions kind of tied together. Who's my favourite footballer and my top 3 footballers of all time? My top 3 footballers of all time start for number 3. Number 3 would have to be Paul Scholes. Fantastic player. What he done at Manchester United, unbelievable. He was brilliant to watch. Best midfielder of the latest generations, you could say. He was absolutely class. I think he could take on Xavi and Iniesta and all the rest of them any day of the week. Paul Scholes is number 3. Number 2 has to be Scott Brown, because of how loyal he's been to Celtic, how good he's done at Celtic, and just how great a player he is no matter what matches. I mean, last season he had quite a dodgy season, but he's always so passionate and he's always brilliant for the club, and he wears the captain's armband with pride. He's a fantastic player, and he's stuck with Celtic now for 10 years. He's a fantastic player. I'm glad that he stayed at Celtic so long. He's a great player. And number 1, it might shock some of you, Wayne Rooney. Wayne Rooney is my favourite footballer of all time. Class, absolutely world class, and he gets a lot of shit, and it's so undeserved. And a lot of you might actually be giving me shit for saying he's my favourite footballer ever, but Wayne Rooney, hands down, my favourite player of all time. The greatest English and Manchester United footballer of all time. He is class, Wayne Rooney. He's my favourite footballer ever. He's just so good to watch. Maybe not so much now, because he's more of a kind of midfield type player, but when he used to bang in the goals, it was unbelievable to watch, and he's my favourite footballer ever. What is your favourite Celtic chant? Favourite Celtic chant? Well, I mean, should I go with a sectarianist one? I don't know. To be honest, Grace is obviously up there. Grace this season was the chant that's kind of swept all the Celtic fans. And there's a lot of good chants for Celtic. Willie Maley's a good chant. There's a lot. It's hard to pick. It's probably got to be You'll Never Walk Alone. It's not so much of a chant, but I mean, when we sing at Celtic games, you know what it's like. If you've been to a big game and you're singing You'll Never Walk Alone, sends chills down your spine, so I'll just go with You'll Never Walk Alone. What is your opinion on the Celtic Ultras? My opinion on the Green Brigade? If it wasn't for them, the atmosphere wouldn't be as good as it is at Celtic Park. They're great, you know, they get the chant started. And it's good, you know, they had that wee brief period of time where they were banned or something, and I'm glad they're not continuously banned, but introducing the standing section and such has really improved the atmosphere of Parkhead. You can really see the difference since they added it to compared to other seasons. And the Green Brigade, you know, they get the chance going. They might get under some stick sometimes, but they do some good things as well, like the money they raised for the Palestinian charities and such. They're a good bunch of people for chants and such. I don't know anybody personally for the Green Brigade, so I couldn't give a personal opinion like that, but from atmosphere types of views, they're very good people. Lee Griffiths or Moussa Dembele? Moussa, no question about it. Lee Griffiths, don't get me wrong, great player, 40 goals last season, can't go ignored, it can't go unnoticed, but Moussa Dembele is another class of player. You can see the world class side of him brought out in big games. You can see he's going places. As for Lee, I don't know if he would ever make it big in England, for example, and when it comes to European games, he's not the same type of player. Moussa Dembele, every day of the week if I had to pick, it'd have to be Moussa. There's no question for me, but that's not taking anything away from the player that Lee Griffiths is. Favourite supper? I like this one. My favourite supper, if you're talking about like fish suppers and that, it's probably got to be a sausage supper. That's what I go for anyway. Your favourite Celtic 11? Right, this is a lengthy question. I actually had to plan this out. Favourite Celtic 11 ever? That's a good question for you, Mark. Favourite Celtic 11 in goals, I'd have to go with Artur Boric. I loved him when I was a wee guy, you know, quality goalkeeper, outstanding. Artur Boric would be in goals. Back four, Lustig's the only decent right back I can think of I've ever had in a lifetime. Andreas Hinkle was alright, I suppose. Centre backs, Bobo Balde, considering he was my first ever player that I really liked. I'd have to go with Bobo Balde in there, and probably Virgil van Dijk. Although apparently wants to put in Sviatchenko, but probably Van Dijk, and at left back Tierney. You know, Tierney, fantastic. He's up there with my favourite Celtic players as well. When I answered earlier, he's up there as well. But they would be there. Over in the right mid, Nakamura. He'd have to play there. In the centre, I'd have Brown. And try to think of someone else to go in the centre is difficult. There's probably somebody that's so obvious, and I just can't think off the top of my head. Brown is definitely in there. I'll come back to the centre mid. At left mid, I'd probably... Oh, geez, this is actually harder than I thought. Who would I have over at left mid? Aidan McGeady maybe? I don't know. Scott Sinclair is another great player. We have some great players in a minute that I could easily just slot in. I probably have to put Aidan McGeady out there. He was a great player. And up front, probably have to be Henrik Larsson, because it's Henrik Larsson, and Moussa Dembele. Moussa Dembele trumps all the other strikers. We've had some great strikers, Gary Hooper, Scott McDonald, other players, fantastic strikers, but Dembele's up there. But as for the other centre mid, jeez, who would be the other centre mid? I'm trying to think. Who the hell have we had? We've had Joe Ledley. I'd probably put in Joe Ledley now that I think about it. Aye, Joe Ledley. Joe Ledley. I love Joe Ledley and I still do. I think he's a great player. Joe Ledley. That's my favourite Celtic 11. Scott McCauley's watch is indeed fake. Who do you think will win the Spanish league? I don't like Spanish football at all, but I'll go with Real Madrid. I do like Real Madrid, mind you. You've probably seen me wear a Real Madrid top a couple of times in a few of my videos. But Real Madrid I'll go with, just for the fact they're the only Spanish team I pay attention to and like. So yeah, Real Madrid. What are your other interests apart from Celtic? Other interests, wrestling. That's the other. Like, I don't have a lot of interest now. I think about it, wrestling, and playing Xbox and sitting in my fat arse. That's about it. Really, honestly, can't think of anything else. Favourite Scottish team that's not Celtic? Any team that's playing Rangers? Nah, I'm going to kill myself. That's half a joke. In all seriousness, none. I support one team from Scotland, that one team's Celtic. Like, people support like their local teams, for example, like they might support fucking Albion Rovers if they're near them, but I'm from Glasgow, so the nearest team to me is Celtic, so Celtic. Do you think Celtic can go unbeaten and win the treble? I do. And I posed the question on my channel at the start of the season, do I think Celtic can go unbeaten? And I think I said it a wee while ago, and I think we can, but we can easily slip up, so I'm not going to bank on it, but I think we can, and I think we will win the treble. Surely we'll win the treble. It all depends who we face in the Scottish Cup, but I mean, by the way we're going, it looks like no one can stop us, so I think we can go unbeaten. I think we could win the treble. Why did you start supporting Manchester United? That's quite a good question. Why did I start supporting Man United? Probably down to the fact Cristiano Ronaldo. I was about 7 or 8 when I started supporting Man United, and Cristiano Ronaldo was just unreal, unbelievable, and it was such a joy to watch him. Everybody wanted to be like Cristiano Ronaldo. And then I remember I went to Florida when I was 8, and I was a full kit wanker, yes. I bought a full Man United kit with Ronaldo on the back, and from that point on, Man United were my English team, and I just liked Man United, and ever since I've always supported United when it comes to an English team. Obviously don't support them anywhere near as much as Celtic, but I mean, Man United, good team, that's why I started supporting them. Who do you like better, Gary Glitter or Jimmy Savile? Rolf Harris. Have you ever smoked cannabis? No, never. I've never smoked cannabis, don't plan on smoking cannabis. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with smoking cannabis, but I mean, personally, I don't see the appeal in it. So no, I've never smoked it. I'm not at that point in my life yet, so no. How do you think that Celtic would do in England? This is a question which I think it's so hard to answer, but I think in England, honestly, Celtic would do really well. I think it's a joke when people say Celtic couldn't even cut it in the Championship. Jesus, my screen is went black. What the fuck? Jesus, give me a break. Have you seen us this season? We held Man City to 2 draws first of all, and the form we are on, we could beat any team in the Championship easily. Give us Newcastle up here and I'm sure we could beat them. Under Brendan Rodgers, we'd slay any team in the Championship first of all. In the Premier League, with our current squad, I'd say we're probably around a mid-table side. But you've got to remember the fact, when we go down to if we were moved to England, the money we would bring in, and the reputation we already have for great fans, great atmosphere, added to the fact we're in the best league in the world, that would surely attract big players to Celtic. I mean, if it's coming to the point where they get to choose between Man City and Celtic, maybe the wages come into play a bit, but what if we had the same financial resources as Manchester City? Surely any day of the week, people would pick Celtic, knowing what our fans and what our stadium's like. I guess it comes down to who wants to play Champions League football and if we were making top 4 and such. But down in England, if we had the financial resources, I think we could be right up there. I mean, that may be a bit delusional because I'm a Celtic fan, but it's the same with Rangers. If they were moved down there as well, I think the same thing would happen if they had the same financial support and players were willing to move to them. I think they could do well. We could do even better. What is the best Celtic goal you ever witnessed? I really don't know. I've not witnessed a lot of great goals. I mean, there's been great goals quality-wise, like Lee Griffiths' free kick into, I think it was Lincoln, was it Astana maybe? The one in the Champions League qualifiers, that was a brilliant free kick. Like, I can remember Samaras scoring an overhead kick into Aberdeen, but it was like a wee dink of the ball, wasn't it? Like a Rooney overhead kick. Probably has to be that Lee Griffiths free kick. I've not witnessed a bunch of fantastic, like, amazing goals that I can think of off the top of my head anyway. I might have to go deeper and think about that. Now, when I was answering this, I answered it as like I was witnessed it being in the stadium. If it's witnessed all together, like TV or stadium, whatever, live there, it would have to be Shinsuke Nakamura's against Rangers, the long range one. And that's it for the first part of the Q&A, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you did enjoy it. I hope you got to learn a little bit more about me and such. If you did enjoy it, you know what to do. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, keep the growth on the channel up. I love you all so much for that. As I always say, but it was a great bunch of questions you asked me, and I'm glad to have answered them and get it out of the way. I hope you enjoyed the video, as I said. And part 2 should be out sometime in the next few days or so. So if you've enjoyed it, smash the like button. And I'll see you guys next time.